Truth, lies, and confessions. We'll have details next on City Corner. I'm Steve Potter, and welcome to City Corner. Well, True Community Theater has a shorts play festival coming up, and we'd like to welcome the artistic director for True, and that is Donald C. Miller. Hi, Don, how are you?
Good, glad to be here.
Are you?
Yes, I am. I really am.
How have you been the last 18 months?
How has anybody been? We're getting through it, but it's rough.
Well, theaters are suffered for a while there. I'm sure you talked to other people in other local groups. I guess everybody kind of was in the same boat for a while. Yeah,
pretty much. I think it really decimated a lot of places. Not yet, you think of Broadway in the biggest sense, but yeah, a lot of local regional theater companies just pretty much got decimated for the past year to 18 months.
Yeah, well, small local companies don't probably have big bank accounts and that sort of thing, and it's kind of hard. How bad was it for you guys? Did you ever worry about coming back?
I don't think that we worried about never coming back, but we certainly had this on the back burner for a while, and we were really excited to get back and do it. But yeah, there was a period where we thought kind of an indefinite push our pause button, which was a little.
Mm-hmm. Were you in the middle of anything when the pandemic hit?
Not really with theater, no, so I was kind of lucky there.
All right, your shorts festival is called Truth, Lies, and Confessions at the Chapel.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like, a chapel would be a good place for truth, lies, and confessions, but it's actually in a chapel, and that's the name of the event space, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. Tell me about the chapel.
So the chapel is a performing arts space. It's connected to a church. I guess it's Clayton, it's off Skinker. I don't know exactly what the location is there, or what they're considered. A lot of smaller theater companies have used the space. It's a really intimate space. It's really good for more intimate shows. So yeah, it's a nice place to do theater.
Now, I've seen plays there before that you've done, but is this the first shorts festival exactly? This is a little different than what you've done before, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it's actually really different. So it's not interactive, but it is immersive. So Elaine had a vision, since it is taking place at a chapel, and we've got that theme going. We have, for example, our ushers are going to be dressed up like parochial school kids, and we have sort of a fictional academy of arts that's putting on the show. And there'll be pictures of these folks throughout the venue, and yeah, so it's very immersive.
When you say, what do you mean by that, immersive?
So you kind of feel like you're actually walking into maybe like a parochial school who's getting ready to put on a big show. You've got kids, many of whom are adults, obviously, wearing sort of uniforms and things like that. So just a little bit of fun, that we're having with the theme.
Well, Truth, Lies, and Confessions at the Chapel, I think there are 9 plays, right? And they're all local playwrights. So how'd you find all these people?
So we were really adamant about this being a local production in every sense of the word. So when we put out the word to gather scripts from people, I think originally we were going to just do Missouri in general, so Kansas City, et cetera. And then after further discussion, we even wanted to focus that on St. Louis. There's a lot of great playwrights in the area. So we just thought it would be kind of a neat idea to restrict it just to local playwrights and draw on that talent.
Do like local playwrights know one another? Is there some kind of little group that's a small little world?
I guess somewhat. I mean, I think I know all the playwrights that are doing plays for our show, but I'm sure there's ones out there that I'm not aware of.
I read you say diversity is part of True Community's mission. What do you mean by that?
So when Elaine started this several years ago, she started True Community. Elaine Ellis, correct. She started True Community for 2 reasons. Number one, she has a history in social service work. So she started this with the intention of doing fundraising plays and would give that money or send that money to nonprofits, which she's done considerably. But also, I think even the bigger part of that is she wants it to be a true community effort where we draw on the talents of people who have maybe never acted but want to act alongside people that are more seasoned and veterans. So you kind of have a good mix of people that can learn from people that are more experienced.
In the second segment of this program, we're going to meet 2 of the playwrights, Cary and Alyssa. What do you want to tell us just real quickly about them?
I've known Alyssa for a while. I think, met her many years ago through Joan Lipkin's Briefs Shorts Festival, and Alyssa was actually in one of those. And we also did some sort of collaboration together with the playwright group briefly. So yeah, we've known each other for quite a while. Cary, I literally just met today, which is, the wonders of technology and the internet. Yeah. So, but Cary's play's great. We love it. It was one that Elaine and I both had to read 3 or 4 times just to kind of get the rhythm of it and sort of not understand what he was going for, but it was very offbeat. Which
I need him to explain the name of his play. We'll get to that later.
I'm sure he can. Sure.
Let's see. Let's talk about, we mentioned Elaine, let's talk about her because I think she's got at least one play, right?
She does, yeah.
Got 2.
We each have 2.
Right.
So there's 9 plays altogether, 2 by me, 2 by Elaine, and then the other 5 by other local playwrights. So Elaine has 2 plays. One is called Today, and the other one is called Underwater. And they could not be more different in theme and in tone, but they're both, I think, pretty engaging. I think people will enjoy both of them.
Well, give me a little synopsis of Today.
Sure. So it's a really hard one not to give a spoiler on, so I'll just say it's really about sort of sibling rivalry or sort of missed connections between siblings and how even in the worst of times you can maybe find some common ground. I know that's still kind of mysterious, but that's about the most I could probably say about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about Underwater?
Underwater is a monologue, which is really interesting. So it's just one actor on the stage, and it's very deep. It's very organic, and it's one actor sort of telling the audience about an experience that she had, or experiences plural, that sort of altered who she is and her growth to kind of grow beyond that negative experience.
You said Underwater was deep, but
there you go. Yeah,
I picked up on
little
it.
pun there.
One of the plays is written by 2 local playwrights, Teresa Masters and Mark Pruder, and that's something called Indian Summer.
So Indian Summer, I hate to use this word, it's kind of overused, I think, but it's a charming little play about 2 individuals who meet in a park during Indian Summer, and they're both very different from one another. Again, don't want to give away too many spoilers, but it's just how sort of a relationship, pseudo-friendship unfolds during that encounter.
I just have to throw this in there. I haven't seen Teresa Masters in 15 years, but we were actually in a play together.
Oh, really?
It had to have been at least 15 years, and I can't remember what the play was.
That's awesome.
You have to ask her if she remembers.
I will.
Another one of your playwrights is a gentleman that most people know on stage, Joe Hanrahan.
Yeah, so Joe Hanrahan's play, Patient 47, was done, I believe, at a theater crawl. So some people may have already seen this one, although I don't think, hopefully, too many have seen it. And that is a 2-person play that is one of the few that I would call is a true drama in our collection. Most of these are comedies, so that one is really a drama.
How long are these? Do they go from a couple of minutes to 10 minutes or what?
Good question. So they're anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. So just enough to kind of whet your appetite. And the great thing with the Shorts Festival is if there's one that's maybe not your cup of tea, so to speak, stick around and hopefully the next one will be.
Another play is by someone that I've known for a long time, Joan Lipkin.
Yep.
And that is Crab Cakes.
Right. Yeah, so Crab Cakes has premiered, I think, several different places before it came to us. I think Joan won an award for it. It's in an anthology of short plays, if I'm not mistaken. It's about a married couple that are having a very interesting conversation over dinner. And as I say in the promo, Crab Cakes isn't the only thing on the menu that night, so yeah.
I'll use my imagination. All right, Don, you've got 2 plays that I'm anxious to hear about. One is, and I've got a lot of visuals when I heard this one, Panic in the Cockpit. Extinction, exclamation point.
Yeah, so when you hear that, the first thing I thought of when I gave it that title was you would think like those Jerry Bruckheimer movies from like the 80s or 90s where stuff was blowing up every few minutes, very action-driven. It's the furthest thing from that. Actually, the cockpit refers to the name of the bar where the play takes place, and it's about 3 middle-aged drag queens that are sort of lamenting the decline of their art and what they perceive as like an upstart, younger drag queens that really kind of defile what they're all about or threaten what they're about.
That sounds interesting. Where did you come up with that idea?
I really have no idea.
And the other one you wrote, Doris Fitzwater's Guide to Good Manners. Who is Doris Fitzwater?
Doris Fitzwater is a senior citizen who is in a club. This club is incredibly hyper-focused on people demonstrating good manners and etiquette within society. And all I will say is if people don't demonstrate good manners and etiquette to them, they kind of take that to the next level. And I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Who are the actors in your two plays?
So in Cockpit, we've got Zach Farmer, who I think everybody in St. Louis probably knows. He's a great actor, does musicals, everything. We have Todd Schaefer, who also has been around for a long time and done a lot of plays. We have Eric Miller, who I don't know necessarily has done a lot of work up to this point, but a perfect fit for the role. And we also have Michael Baird, who's been in a lot of things at Stray Dog Theater and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now you get tickets to Eventbrite. I'm not really familiar with that, so for those that aren't, explain that real quick.
Yeah, so Eventbrite, really simple site to use to get tickets. I think MetroTix might be the one most people are familiar with, but I think a lot of people know about Eventbrite. The great thing with Eventbrite is the fee to buy the ticket is incredibly low. It's $1 and some change, whereas with MetroTix, a lot of times you're paying quite a bit more in fees and things like that.
But you can get them at the door too, right?
You can. I will tell people if you come to the door and we're not sold out, we're happy to give you a ticket, but we don't have anything there to process payment, so it would be cash.
So it's Truth, Lies, and Confessions at the Chapel. It's going to be October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. That's a Friday, and then I think there's a matinee and an evening one on Saturday,
Correct.
and then a matinee on Sunday, right?
Yes.
So go to True Community Theater, and you can find out more details about the plays and more about how to get tickets, and that's at the Chapel. So, Don, thank you so much for being here. It's always great to see you.
Absolutely, the
Y'all
same.
break a leg, and I must mention I am going to be a part of the festival, not on stage, but on that Saturday night, I'm going to be a guest bartender for you.
Correct. We're looking forward to having you there.
You'll probably just want water or something, right?
More than likely, yeah.
Okay.
The liquor comes after the show. We know that it went well.
Okay, thank you, Don.
All right, thanks
True
so much.
Community Theater, and we'll meet two of the playwrights that are taking part in the Shorts Festival right after this. This is City Corner.
There's so many reasons to love St. Louis, you can't pick just one. From the arts, architecture, and culture. An all-new development, including the Cortex Community Center. And you're never too far from great music and entertainment.
So come and experience St. Louis.
Operation Wonder Park is a go!
There's nothing more powerful than imagination. But don't just imagine. Use STEM to change the world.
Who's with me?
Oh, it's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it here. So what are you waiting for? Just go to the site.
I'm Steve Potter. Welcome back to City Corner. Today we're talking about True Community Theater. They have a shorts festival coming up October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It's called Truth, Lies, and Confessions at the Chapels. And we're going to meet two of the playwrights now. Please welcome Cary Simowitz. Hi, Cary. Nice to meet you.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Yes. Have you been involved with True Community Theater before?
I actually haven't. This is my first experience, and it's been great so far.
How did you hook up with them?
Sure. I saw an advertisement for their new play festival. I figured I'd send off a play and see what happens, and here we are.
Well, I'm just entertained by the title of your play, and
Sure.
I have to read it because I cannot quite memorize it. But this is the title of your play, The Electric Beef Jerky Countertop Food Dehydrator. Am I supposed to know what that means?
You are not. So I can tell you a little bit about it if you like.
Yeah.
So I worked on this play several years ago when I was getting my MFA at UCLA School of Theater, Film, and Television. And up until that point, I had always written plays that are grounded in realism, and particularly grounded in St. Louis. That's been most of my work. And we were studying...
But you're not from here, though, right?
No, not originally,
Right.
but I attended college and law school at WashU in St. Louis, and so Carter Lewis was actually my first playwriting teacher, and he's sort of been my guiding light. So, yeah. At any rate, I had become known around UCLA as a writer of drama, as realism, and my professors really challenged me to write something in the realm of absurdism. We were studying the Russian playwrights, Chekhov and a little bit of Gogol, and how they use sort of absurd situations to reflect truths about life. So, brings me to this play. The very long story short, actually it's a very simple play. It's a typical American couple, husband and wife, are having an argument, and it sounds like they're arguing about infidelity. They're using the language of infidelity. Someone has cheated on someone. But oddly enough, and the play is meant to be disorienting, they're actually what's happening is their argument is about this strange item that one of them has purchased on Amazon.
The food dehydrator?
Exactly. And while that's the center of their conflict, an irresponsible purchasing choice, they constantly use the language of cheating and infidelity. And it's kind of meant to evoke a sort of intrusion of wealth and commerce and how it sort of degrades our language of love and marriage and loyalty.
So is there a lot of laughs in this?
Oh yes, absolutely. It's slapstick at the end of the day.
Well, tell me about your two actors and how you found them.
So the actors were actually recruited by the True Theater Company. I have actually never met them. So it'll be a pleasure to see them for the first time taking on the work.
So you're not directing it?
No, not at all. The wonderful thing about being a playwright in a pandemic is that you can hand your script off to somebody else, and that's the last you see of it until opening night.
Well, is there a lesson to be learned from your play, The Electric Beef Jerky Countertop Food Dehydrator? Is there a lesson to be learned, or what do we walk away with?
Sure. I think my hope is that folks who see this play might re-examine conflicts in their own relationships and perhaps wonder if which ones deserve our attention, which are actually at the root of healthy relationships, and which might be a bit more superfluous.
Cary, I wanted to ask you something real quick. You're involved with the group I'm not familiar with, and just kind of like you to tell me about it. The Dramatists Guild?
Yes.
And you're an ambassador to that. What's that all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Dramatists Guild of America is a little bit like the Screenwriters Guild for film and television writers. We are the guild for playwrights around the country. And about 2 years ago, just before the start of the pandemic, I was elected the regional ambassador for St. Louis. So I have, through social media, primarily now in our pandemic era, I've been meeting with playwrights around the greater St. Louis region, answering their questions about plays, hosting events so that playwrights can meet each other. We actually recently had a reading of a local playwright named Nancy Bell's new work, which was extraordinary. So, way to keep playwrights together.
You've written a few plays before already.
Oh yes, yeah. The two ones that I've been sort of sending around the most widely, Jarum Vanilla. It's a play that's set in St. Louis, a coming-of-age story against the backdrop of the Darren Wilson verdict. That play was recently developed at the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in Washington, D.C. Wow. Thanks. And the other play that I've gotten a little bit of buzz for is called All the Oxytocin in Your Fingertips. That's a story, a deaf love story that recently won the Dayton Playhouse Theater's 2021 Future Fest. So,
what's next for you?
Good question. I'm also trying to balance being a lawyer in the midst of all of this. I started practicing law shortly before the shutdown, so these days I've been focusing primarily on figuring out how to practice law.
I guess there aren't too many lawyer playwrights, are there?
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Cary Simowitz, the short is the Electric Beef Jerky Countertop Food Dehydrator. It's part of Truth, Lies, and Confessions at the Chapel, which is October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We're going to meet another playwright in a minute, but thank you so much for joining us today, and have a great run with it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We'll be right back with more City Corner after this.
There's so many reasons to love St. Louis, you can't pick just one. From the arts, architecture, and culture. An all-new development, including the Cortex Community Center. And you're never too far from great music and entertainment.
So come and experience St. Louis.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
I'm Steve Potter. Welcome back to City Corner. Well, today we're talking about Truth, Lies, and Confessions at the Chapel. It's a festival of short plays coming up October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. True Community Theater is putting it together, and we're going to meet another one of the playwrights right now. Say hello to Alyssa Ward. Hi, Alyssa. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
So good so far. How much experience do you have as a playwright?
Really not much. For the most part, I got my BA in theater, but I was focused more on the acting side of things. Playwriting, I just started doing one day, and people seemed to like it, so I wrote a few more. And
that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Than acting.
Completely different.
What do you like about it?
It's still involved in the theater community. I like kind of being able to hand my baby off to somebody else and see what they come up with. So this is the first play I've written for young actors, like teenagers. So I'm curious to see what they do with it because I don't know any of them involved with it. So I'm really excited to see it.
Isn't that a weird feeling though when, you know, a play's like your baby and then you put it in somebody else's hands? That's kind of scary, isn't it?
Right, a little bit. You never know what's going to happen.
Even though you trust them.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, you know, we hear so much about these days people not returning to work and not working. I had to laugh because you have like 9 jobs. Most people are lucky to have 1 job these days, and you have 9. Besides being a playwright, I want you to confirm all this, you're a massage therapist, a professor of French, a yoga instructor, and a dance teacher?
Yes. Of course, I lost all of those when COVID happened.
Yeah.
Which is actually why I was able to submit to this, because when I saw the submission notice, I'm just like, there's no way I'm going to have time because I'm too busy doing all the other things. But then I basically lost all of my jobs in the span of a week. So I'm like, oh, I guess maybe I could write a play for that and see what happens with it.
Is that what this is about? The name of your play is And a Lie. So is that what it's about?
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's a group of teenagers at like a slumber party, and a Lie kind of comes from that game you play sometimes like a convention or like to meet and greet people, or like, you know, kids with like 2 truths and a lie, where you tell like 2 truths about yourself in one line. You have to like figure out which the lie is. So that's kind of what I started with it, and then it progresses from there.
So it's a slumber party?
Yeah.
Is it all girls or?
All girls, yes.
High school, did you say, or?
Yes, 3 high school girls.
Who are the actors in your play?
I actually haven't met them yet, but they were picked by, I know Elaine Ellis is directing it, so She chose 3 local teenagers to.
So is this a comedy or serious or a little bit of both or what?
There's some comedic moments, but I'd say it's more of a drama.
What does it really deal with? What's the tension all about?
Well, I don't know if I can really tell you. You'll have to come and see the play and find out.
Can't tell me just a little bit? I won't force you to.
Well, they get into kind of an online chat during the slumber party. So.
I wanted to ask you about a play. You wrote another one-act play. I just wanted you to tell me a little bit about it called Life Ever After.
Yes, that one, there were a couple local productions. One was at a Stray Dog Theater. There's another one with the Afro-Bend Festival with Slightly Askew Theater Ensemble. That one took place in the afterlife. It was a meeting of like someone who's basically like an office worker in the afterlife, and then someone would die, they'd go to her, and she'd assign them a new life, basically. So the meeting between those two was the play. And that one was more of a comedy.
Where does your inspiration come from, as far as writing a play is concerned?
It depends on the play. For that one, the afterlife had always just been something that I was interested in, and since none of us really know what will happen, so I just created my own version of it. And I think I would kind of like if it works this way, where you get to go back and try again. And,
are you working on anything now?
There's one I wrote recently that's about dating, which is
I hope that's a comedy.
Super fun. Yeah, it is actually a comedy.
Alyssa Ward, your play is And a Lie. It's all going to be part of True Community Theater's play festival of shorts, which is coming up, called Truth, Lies, and Confessions at the Chapel. It's going to be October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. There's matinees and evening performances. Just check that out. You can get tickets to Even Bright, and just look up True Community Theater on Facebook, probably is a good way to do it too. Truth, Lies, and Confessions at the Chapel. Alyssa Ward, thank you again, and I can't wait to see your play. I'll be there Saturday night, so.
Oh, I'll be there too
I'll
as
be
well.
watching. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Truth, Lies, and Confessions at the Chapel. That's it for this edition of City Corner. I'm Steve Potter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.